It's time for Clubhouse Chatter. Here's the man with the best-looking feet in baseball. It's Norm Ordez.
That is right. My feet are pretty good shape today. Went in for a pedicure, and my friends make fun of me all the time, but it's a baseball thing. And back in 2006, when I was with the Diamondbacks in Lancaster, California, Brett Butler, Damon Mayshore, and Jeff Pico, they turned me on to pedicures, and I showed them this great little barber shop in Lancaster, and then after that, they turned me on to this pedicure place in Lancaster, and I've been doing it ever since. So I have with us today Wayne and Rebecca from Padres360, and how are you guys doing today?
Really good tonight. How you doing, Norm?
I'm doing pretty good. So Wayne, as a guy, do you ever get pedicures?
No.
Okay.
No, it's kind of interesting that you said Brett Butler was the one that turned you on to it?
Yeah, Brett Butler, Damon Mayshore, and Jeff Pico.
I've told him all the time he needs to because you should always take care of your feet.
Absolutely. See, I think it's a man thing, I mean, you got to take care of your body, and as a ball player, you got to take care of your feet. I mean, that's like one of your most important body parts, right? I mean, you got to walk.
Well, true, I would agree with that. But, when I think about it, it's like men and feet, it's like men, number one, shouldn't be showing their feet because we tend to have ugly feet.
True.
And number two, I look at it as kind of a girl thing. Like, for instance, when it comes to pedicures, the Padres360, Rebecca is the princess of the pedicure. I know what you're saying, though. As a runner, it's actually something I'm probably going to do maybe this next week because we're getting ready to run the Las Vegas Half Marathon, which is a totally different subject from this. Nice. So you guys have a new manager, Andy Green. So what is the scuttlebutt on Andy Green? Do you want to start? Oh.
Well, of course, we were all as surprised as the rest of the world because, we've learned that we can really trust all those MLB trade rumors now. All the people in the know really know nothing because it was fascinating because even a few hours beforehand, it was probably going to be Gardenhire. And then it's like, we're getting ready to announce a press conference for Andy Green. We were stunned.
I would have to agree. I mean, we were locked onto the fact that Gardenhire was going to be the guy, and Gardenhire is a person that Rebecca had interviewed for a book leading me out to the ball game, and we were really excited about that to the point that we started researching his coaches, including the fact that his pitching coach with Minnesota was also available. So we were thinking, okay, Darren Balsley's going to be gone, which we were actually kind of happy about because we're not fans of Balsley. And then, of course, the Padres 180'd us and decided to go from black to green.
Yeah.
And we were not really expecting that.
So, Andy Green. So, I know Andy Green from the Diamondbacks organization. Great baseball guy, young guy. I don't even think he's 40 yet.
38.
But my question is obviously the Padres think he's ready to step into the manager role, but I don't know. I mean, a young guy with he's only got a couple of years managing experience in the minor leagues. What do you guys think?
Well, it was interesting. I mean, I was really, I'll be honest, I was kind of missed about it. I didn't know much about him. I started researching the whole, the big question of the day last week was, who is Andy Green? And you knew more than we did. But as I went through it all, I was just started getting so confused by it. I didn't see anything bad about him. And as a matter of fact, since we wrote our little introductory piece about him, we've had several people comment from the Diamondbacks organization how much they love him and will miss him. I think he was pretty impressive in his press conference. He had a lot of the right thing to say, and I could tell he's well coached in leadership, and he's had some good mentors along the way, and he's a big John Wooden fan as far as he's obviously read all of his books and quoted him quite frequently. And I think he aligns really well philosophically with what I believe the Padres are going to do, at least Preller, from his culture standpoint and what he wants from a leader. But I think the big question comes down to And I see this because, I'm a graduate professor, and a lot of students can regurgitate the leadership, or they can talk about leadership, but when they get that job, can they execute?
Right.
And I think that age, that lack of experience, and whether or not he'll be able to execute is only time's going to tell. I think he's got the right stuff. I think he's a great character guy. He seems incredibly intelligent and seems super nice. And I think he wants to be successful. But whether or not he can execute, that's going to be interesting to see.
I would agree with that. Before I came over, before I came over here, to Rebecca's place, it had been reported, and I guess it was earlier today, that the Padres had offered Ron Gardenhire as well as Tim Wallace the bench coach job.
Interesting.
And we both find that really interesting because, here you've got a young guy, 38, and you definitely want your bench coach to be somebody that has had major league leadership and has really been involved with the game for a long time. Myself, I would love to see Gardenhire do it. Whether or not he would, I don't know. It might come down to who the Dodgers finally hire. But with that said, the hiring of Green, I believe, is kind of Preller's execution of the 1-5 plan. We had been told that they were really going for it last year. They made all these moves, and it didn't work out. And the second option was a 5-year plan, more of a long-term thing where Preller would start to draft his own people and bring his own pieces in. And I think Green is sort of the long-term vision the Padres have. I was impressed as well with him. I definitely think he knows the game. 38 years old, he is. It's funny, he is green, but I think that he's got a lot to offer. He's got a lot of passion. Now, really, to be honest, it's going to come down to Preller bringing in and getting rid of people here in the Padres organization.
Right. Major League Baseball, the trend is the Nationals, so they were set to hire Bud Black, and of course that fell through, and they hired Dusty Baker today. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that there weren't, any minorities left in baseball managing, but, Bud Black's going to fall to somewhere. He could always manage and end up, being a pitching coach again, and so he's in a pretty good position. But, it's interesting that you brought up Gardenhire as a bench. Was that?
I could see him front office, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, in the case with Baker, even during the World Series when he was on TV, he's desperate to get back in. This is probably it for him. Myself, I'm not a Dodger fan at all, but I was sort of hoping he would go back to Los Angeles. I think he's a better fit than he is in Washington.
I agree with you on that. Definitely. But yeah, Gardenhire as a bench coach, that's really interesting. And, he would be able to, kind of bring along, Andy Green. And, Green, he's a well-spoken guy. He's got a great baseball mind. And like you said once, it's the experience managing that they're lacking. So what do the Padres need? What do they need to do in the off season?
Okay, well, we were kind of talking about this. One of the things they're going to really have to do is go out and get a shortstop. Right now, they really don't have anybody even above Double-A. Rondon's not bad, but he's a year or two away, if that. They're going to have to go out and get a shortstop. And my opinion with it, I really like to see them put Jankowski and Spangenberg in the lineup at the top, put Spangenberg at second, and I'd like to see him move Jed Jerko and maybe even Austin Hedges to try to go get a young shortstop. Okay.
Hedges should bring in a pretty price.
He probably will, and I think, in the case, we've got Derek Norris here, and honestly, I believe a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And while I think Austin Hedges has a lot of talent, and I do think he's a good catcher, I think Derek Norris is shown to be more of a leader, and especially in this case with the Padres, they do need leadership in the clubhouse, and I think he is a type of a leader, certainly on the field as well as off.
Right. Right. So shortstop. Would you put that as the number one priority?
Yeah, and I think there's several available. I mean, it's funny because you'll hear Kansas City with Christian Colon getting the hit that basically kind of wins the series for Kansas City, and he's sort of roadblocked there. And not that I would trade Hedges and those guys, but I think there are several young shortstops available, and I think that Preller is looking at trying to get a young shortstop. You got Milwaukee with Segura, and they've got basically a couple of their top prospects are also shortstops. So I think that's maybe the direction they're going to go, is to go to a team that's got a backlog of shortstops and try to get one.
How aggressive do you think Preller and the Padres will be in the winter baseball meetings? Are they going to be as aggressive as what they were last year?
Well, let's face it, they weren't aggressive till after the meetings were over.
Well, right.
I mean, Preller is an interesting character. I mean, honestly, he can play something closer to the best than probably anyone. I mean, he is they say he's private, but he keeps everything very private. I think the hiring of Andy Green's an example of that. But I think he's going to be pretty active. I think there's certain people. I think they showed during the trade deadline this past year, in July, and then also I think they showed there that they feel like they have a lot of the foundation in place, and they weren't going to just trade to be trading. And I think he's already demonstrated that he will trade if he thinks he's going to get the value that he's looking for, or to fill these holes that, I think most of us perceive there are. I think he'll be pretty aggressive about that. But I think he likes some of the places he's made some moves, and I don't think he's going to be it's not going to be like just selling to get someone different or just moving the pieces just be moving them.
Where I lost my train of thought there. How are they pitching wise? What do they need? Do they need maybe another top line starter and some bullpen help?
Well, as Tom Osorda would have said in the past, you never have enough pitching.
That is true.
I definitely think they could use another starter. We're probably going to be looking at least one of the starters. I mean, Kennedy's going to be a free agent, and they're going to have to determine if they want to pay him $16 million. And if you're going to pay him $16 million, you might as well go all in for a Zach Greinke, who that kind of makes me cringe thinking about it. But I think they're going to go for another pitcher. The thing I really wonder about is whether or not they're going to deal Andrew Kastner.
Right.
Did not have a good year this year. Might have been in part to the fact that his mother is suffering from cancer, and he may have had other things in mind. But I do think they will go get another pitcher or two.
Okay. So you guys went to the Fall League. You took in a little Fall League action. Mm-hmm. And give us a couple of Padre prospects that we need to be watching out for.
Well, if I can, you want me to take this?
Well, take the guy that was batting. What was that?
Fernando Perez.
Yeah.
Fernando Perez. He was the guy that represented the Padres to the Bowman batting challenge. He's got really good power at second. Strikes out a lot, which has really been the trend in the Padres minor league system, and actually is a big problem right now. As far as the guys that are down there, Alex Torres is pretty good. Eric Yardley's going to be the Fall Stars representative. He was a reliever at Elsinore, did a good job this year. Honestly, right now they're pretty bare. I would say at AA and A ball.
Right.
Now, we are going back to fall ball this weekend, so we'll be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday again, so we'll see the Fall Stars game as well. But
nice.
So we couldn't get a handle on it. We're going to try to catch up with this weekend.
What about fan favorite Cody Decker? Are we going to see Cody Decker full-time with the Padres next year?
My guess is probably not. I really like him a lot. I think he's a good character guy. I think he poses a little bit of a problem because he's literally larger than life. I mean,
yes.
He's a good guy, he's a great character guy. Personally, myself, I would really like to see them keep him because he gives you depth at several different positions. An emergency catcher, he can play the corners, he can play the outfield. He has power. My gut is that, especially now with Pat Murphy gone, that I would really be surprised if they keep him.
Right. Doggone it, Decker, he is an interesting cat, and there's no doubt about it. The guy can hit. The guy can hit a long ways, but man, he is a guy that I think that you would want to have in your clubhouse to keep it loose.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. You talk about, and it goes back to, we're so a little mystified as to what this quote winning culture the Padres keep talking about they're creating. It hasn't been strong to be able to identify it completely yet. So I don't know if that's also under wraps and a secret, but most of the time you need to have someone, you need to have the leaders like Wayne was talking about with someone like a Derek Norris, but you also need to have some people that can keep it loose and that can, remind people that it is a long season. What are we playing? Over 200 games between spring training and the season, and then hopefully postseason. You need someone that can, keep morale up and can remind them why they play the game of baseball, because it's darn fun.
Yep. So, Rebecca, let's chat a little bit about your book. Tell us a little bit about your book.
What book is that?
Yeah, she is. You have to understand, it is very difficult to deal with her now, because not only does she have one book, she has two books.
Oh, really?
And in her second book, I think, are you talking about the newest one that's on Amazon?
I'm not sure I was aware of the second one.
Oh, you're talking about Lead Me Out to the Ballgame. I just talked about that, so I thought, yeah, that's fine. We can talk about that one.
Okay.
I'm excited, actually, because I'm getting ready to go to Denver in a couple of weeks to talk about the book. I'm going to keynote with some financial planners about becoming major league leaders. I just can't wait to talk to them about, what I find so fun about the topic is that I think baseball permeates everything. I think you can find a way, even with someone that has never seen a game of baseball or been to a professional game, or maybe they're not a fan, you can understand baseball, you can visualize it. And that's one of the fun things about the book, I think, is that you can take leadership practices and great things about being a team and creating a culture and, take a subject that some might find boring or less interesting, and you wrap it up in this beautiful wrapper of baseball, and then all of a sudden it becomes something that people can remember, it can resonate with them, and they can learn something about these topics as well and get some fun anecdotes at it while they're doing it.
So you interviewed Ned Yost for your books. Tell us a little bit about that. Of course, Ned Yost, Kansas City Royals manager, World Series champion now. Tell us a little bit about Ned.
Well, Ned was one of my favorite interviews, and that was before he won the World Series, I'll say. I just really enjoyed my time with the Royals in general. I thought they were a class act organization, just really good character people, so polite, so good with fans. I just was so impressed with the culture that Ned and the team were creating at that time. And it was interesting when I was talking with him, he's had to scuffle a bit. He hasn't always been highly regarded, and he's lost some coaching jobs here and there. But when we were talking about who has really helped him persevere and who some of the key people are that's really influenced him to want to accomplish things. And, he talked about several people, but the one that really resonated with me was talking about his longtime friendship with Dale Earnhardt Sr., and, how good of friends they were, and how Dale really taught him what it means to compete. And that when he was out of coaching baseball, when he didn't have a job, that's why he got to be friends with him, because he was there, helping out on the team, whether it's changing tires or whatever needed to be done. And then they became these great friends, and how much Dale supported his career. And he was there when Dale won, and still has a champagne bottle from when Dale won Daytona, and had hoped to be there that day. Unfortunately, when Dale lost his life, but he got a chance to coach that day. And so Dale told him he needed to be on the baseball field. And you probably know, Norm, I don't know if everybody does, but, Ned wears the number 3 to honor Dale Earnhardt.
Yep.
And And anyway, so I was just really taken by, I'm a longtime NASCAR girl here, so I was really taken by their friendship and by what Dale taught him about competition, and just to see the fire in his eye and how he saw so much, that he was so excited about, that he gets his joy every day watching his players succeed, and that he wanted nothing more than to see them succeed. And I told him in the interview, I said, I think you're going to do it. I said that you got a great clubhouse of guys. You're doing the right things here. And I said, I want to see you guys with that ring in a couple years. And I thought they'd do it last year, and they came up a little short. And I couldn't have been more excited the other night when they actually won it all. So
it was pretty cool. I was pulling for the Mets, but honestly, I mean, hey, I'm glad the Royals won it. They did it with class. They did it the right way. I mean, playing ball like it was meant to be played. Running and situational hitting and not worrying about the home run. And it was a different guy almost every night.
Every night. It was just so much fun to watch. And I think Wayne talks about how they were the most National League, American League team ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I found ironic, is that really, to be honest, the Kansas City Royals beat the New York Mets by playing National League baseball better than anybody.
I know, isn't it funny?
Yeah, and that's the reason why they dominated the American League. The American League had too many guys drop the shoulders in those big parks. In Kansas City, line drive hitters to the gaps, run you to death, and not dominant starting pitching, but like good pitching. So it's like every single night you're facing a decent starter, and and then you've got that bullpen, which is a National League bullpen.
Yep.
And that's what makes them a cut above the rest right now. Period.
Well, that and the fact that they never give up. I mean, you talk about creating that winning culture. You can see it in their eyes. They never, even when they were down. How many games were they down? Was it 6 different times in the postseason they were down? Games they were down, and they never had that look of being defeated, which you saw in some of the other teams. Even when they were down 6 runs and they ended up losing or something, they never believed they were done until that last out.
Right. And
that's what you need to see in your players and in your team. You need to have that, to harness that feeling, that energy that, yes, we can win this game. And that's what a winning culture is. It's not, talk and smoke and mirrors. I mean, we have to believe we can do it, and we're going to put the pieces together. We're going to make it happen. We're just going to grind it out. And I love that about them.
Yeah. And the other moral of the story as well, and this is what Houston learned, is never, ever, ever build your bullpen with a bunch of former Padre relievers. It is going to blow up and implode. It will never work. And then, but anyway, no, it was a fantastic playoff, and I was torn. I love the Mets too. I love their dominant starters. I love the way they played it. There's not too many times where you can have a series that is 1 in 5 games where you can make the statement that the team that lost almost won the series.
Right.
I mean, that was just what was absolutely amazing about that. And, and I, like I said, I like the Mets too. I'm going to be very sad to see possibly Murphy as well as Cespedes leave there.
Right. Baseball, this season, I know the Padres didn't play well at times, and my Giants, we struggled, and then the Dodgers, of course, they won the West, which I could do without. But baseball, it was a pretty exciting season. I mean, baseball's in a good place. You got some young talent coming up. You got the Harpers, the Machados. It's a pretty exciting game right now.
It is, and it's also a game where you don't see teams wear pink for a month. And to me, it's always the best game. Right now, there's really, outside of college basketball, there's not much to do until spring training.
Well, I follow the Winter League, so I get online and I look for the Venezuelan feeds of the Winter Leagues, and I'll sit and watch a game and not understand a lick they're saying. But for me, it's year round. I follow, I pick a handful of players out, and I follow them through the Winter League, the Australian leagues, and whatever. And so it's still going on for me. But Do you have a couple of favorite players that aren't necessarily Padres that you're really into right now?
Current guys? I'll let you start. Anybody comes to mind for you?
Well, I sure like Daniel Murphy, but I've liked him for years.
Yep.
I don't play fantasy ball anymore. When I did, he was on my team for many years, so I just really liked a lot of things about him. But he came to mind quickly just because, of course, the World Series, we just saw him again. How about you? Anybody you really like?
As far as guys I follow, I mean, I've always liked power speed guys, and to be honest, I mean, I'm thinking about this probably because of what we just watched. I really like Lorenzo Cain. I really think that I don't even think he's hit his potential yet.
I don't think so either.
I really don't, and I love how aggressive he is on the bases. He reminds me of everything Cameron Maybin would be if he had more than a nickel brain. I love the way Lorenzo Cain plays the game. I love how aggressive he is, and he's just a really, really talented player.
You know who he kind of reminds me of is Andrew McCutchen in a way. You know, if you think back to 4 or 5 years ago with Andrew McCutchen, I mean, kind of in the same boat. I mean, and Andrew, blew up on the scene. I think Cain is on the verge of being a superstar in Major League Baseball.
Yep. It's funny, he's part of the Greinke curse, because no matter where Zach Greinke gets traded, somebody gets talent when they trade Greinke away, because he was part of the Milwaukee deal, right?
Yep, he was.
With the shortstop for Kansas City as well.
Yes. Yeah, he that's right, he was. The Greinke curse.
Yeah, and then you go to Segura, that's what the Angels lost for Greinke.
Yep.
And the Dodger fans, now they got to see the mentality of Greinke. We're not Greinke fans. I'm really not. I better not go that route. Anyway.
All right, well.
He's a free agent, so we'll see where he lands.
You never know. I don't think he's going to land in San Diego, but you never know. I mean, you never know.
It's funny because one rumor I heard is about him in San Francisco.
I've heard that too.
I tell you this, I dread the amount of alcohol that Bruce Bochy would have to consume to deal with that man in the locker room, because he's not. That's an odd person. Just a very odd person.
Well, I will tell you this: if the Giants get Greinke for 2016, the even year World Series deal, that's out, because Greinke will tear apart the clubhouse. And he will tear apart what the Giants have built in that clubhouse, and I mean he's a good pitcher, but I'm not a big Greinke fan either. And so
it's funny because if you remember back with Greinke in Kansas City when he had the gigantic year, I think it was 2010. Look at his 2011. He had a massive. I mean, his ERA went up almost 2.
Right.
And Greinke's. If he leaves LA, he becomes the ace wherever he goes. And he's had it very easy being the number 2 guy with Kershaw.
Right. So once again, we have Wayne and Rebecca from Padres360. Tell us a little bit about Padres360 and where can we find you guys?
You go ahead.
Hey, Padres360, we're at Padres360.com, and we're also on Twitter, and we have a Facebook page. Wayne does a great job every day of saying happy birthday to players, and it really gets us connected to our people that have ever crossed paths. As if they even have a quarter cup of coffee in the majors, they'll find them. So that's pretty fun. We enjoy, we call ourselves 360 because we really enjoy taking a look at our past and our history. We like to respect that and write stories about retired players and keep them active in the game and keep them active in people's memories. And we enjoy doing the future. That's why we enjoy fall ball. We like going to Lake Elsinore and interviewing players up there for the future Padres, and really talking about the culture of the game, because we're season ticket holders and we're at the ballpark and like to talk about what's happening there. The one thing we don't do at Padres360 is we don't do game recaps, because we said there's plenty of people doing that.
No, and sometimes the recaps, sometimes the games we see, you don't want to think about again. So we don't do game recaps, and for those Padre fans out there to do it, that's fine. We're not knocking it. That's your stuff. But honestly, sometimes you go to a Padre game and the next thing you want to do is just take a drink and forget what you just saw. The other part of Padres360 is that we like talking to former Padres that have put on the uniform, and we've been blessed to make several friends with former Padres. And we enjoy doing it. And if I may say, if it wasn't for Rebecca, we wouldn't have got this started.
So here's a quote. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you guys have a favorite former Padre that you guys have met or are friends with? Now, I know that you guys are talking a lot about, there's a couple of players that you guys keep in touch with and you do stuff with, but do you guys have a favorite?
Well, yeah, we've become really almost family with Dave Fries-Levin.
And that's who I was thinking. And so,
I'd say the next closest would probably be Randy Jones.
Right.
We're very fortunate to see him frequently, so we have to work harder at the Dave relationship because he's in Texas.
Yeah, for me, probably Dave Fries-Levin. It's funny because I grew up with his poster on my wall as a kid, and probably Dave Hilton. We've gotten close with him and his wife Patty, and Randy. I'd have to agree with Randy Jones. Those are probably the top three. I mean, we talked to several others, but as far as people that we've really gotten to know, those three guys.
I'm going to say mine is Donnie Reynolds.
Oh, interesting.
Donnie Reynolds. He's a scout for the Diamondbacks. He lives up here in the Portland, Oregon area. And, I see him a handful of times a year at minor league baseball games in the area. And so
I love to interview him.
Yeah, we always sit and chat. Of course, Donnie, the brother of Harold Reynolds, MLB network guy, and just a great guy. Great baseball guy, great guy to be around, very positive. And I love chatting baseball with him.
We'll have to write him. I think I had a 79 card.
Yes.
I remember correctly.
Yep. And so once again, Rebecca and Wayne for Padres360. Check them out at www.Padres360.com. Guys, it's always a pleasure to have you guys. Come on.
Well, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Norm, and we really appreciate you and Clubhouse Chatter. And anytime that I get to spend time with Rebecca here, who is truly a legend and an awesome writer, and she's blushing right now, it's a pleasure. Norm, thank you so much.
Hey,
thank you, Norm.
Let's not wait so long before the next show.
Exactly.
No problem. If you want to contact us in the spring, and let's see what's sprung, and hopefully, in our case, the Padres go out and make some good moves. Absolutely.
Hey, anybody but the Dodgers at the top.
Oh, absolutely. The dumpsters. I can't tell. They haven't been Dodgers since they left Brooklyn. It's an anomaly without here now.
There you go. Guys, hey, thank you very much. Enjoy Arizona. I hear you ran into Kelly and Josh here a couple of weeks ago. 90 know-it-all guys. And one of these days I'm going to make it.
Oh, we'd love to see you. That'd be great. We'd love to go to some games with you.
Oh, all right. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Once again, Wayne and Rebecca from Padres360. So I would say that there are Padres insiders, great people. Love having those guys on. And, man, like I said, anybody, they really dislike the Dodgers. It cracks me up.
I didn't know people hated the Dodgers so much.
Oh, yeah.
As a Yankee fan, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
As a Giant fan, I don't, but I understand where it comes from.
It'll get there, guaranteed.
So, hey, once again, I'm Norm. That's Brian. Brian has got his eyes dilated, so there he is with his fancy shades.
I can barely see right now.
We are sponsored by Baseballisms.com. Hey, if you like what I'm wearing, my Baseball America apple pie shirt, plus I got the childhood cancer. Hey, hit them up, Baseballisms.com. They got some great stuff. Christmas is around the corner, so what a great deal. Maybe we'll chat with them and get some specials going on. Also, we are sponsored by Baseballdudes.com. To be the best, you must train like the best. Chris Gazelle up there in Vancouver, Washington. Also, Base by Pros, Building an Athlete's Sports Education. Mitch Canham and Brenton Lowbridge up there in Washington. And by Mark Canham, MDM Designs. He does our shirts, Clubhouse Chatter. We will have them up for sale here coming up soon. And as always, we stream live at yamhilltoday.com. Brian, you got YST coming up this weekend? What do you got?
Oh, YST is going to be, a little bit of baseball maybe. And we're going to talk football, definitely. We're going to talk about the Dayton game against Harrisburg at Harrisburg Friday night. We're going to preview Winfield, getting deeper into the season as we're getting ready for possible playoffs here in a few weeks, which definitely for Winfield. And then maybe a little George Fox, and then we'll see what happens after that.
If the Cats win out, 2 games left in the regular season, if they win out, they will have a home game. 4 home games in the playoffs as long as they continue on.
They will win out, and then let the fun begin.
And so I think they are contenders. Is this the year that we play Mount Union finally?
Beat Mount Union finally.
We have to play them first.
That is true.
We've never played them. And, Mount Union is the mountain of D3 football. If you go through and check it out, the last 10 years, Linfield was the last team to win it, 2004. And so since 2004, it's either been Wisconsin Whitewater or Mount Union. And so can Linfield break it this year? I think this could be the year. So once again, I'm Norm. Hey, check us out. We're on Twitter, Clubhouse Chatter 1T. Hey, we're looking for sponsors. If you'd like to sponsor the show, get in touch with me, normbo18@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on MLBblogs.com, Clubhouse Chatter. YouTube, we're on Clubhouse Chatter on YouTube. Hey, check us out. If you like what I hear, just give us a shout out. All right, hey, we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening.